Hey, Kim. I see you there. Can you hear me well? This is the first time I'm using my phone and everything is so unsure. Please, anybody there, let me know if you hear me right. Cool, thank you. I'm waiting for 1 o'clock, so, but feel free to ask questions. I only used webcam before, and now I'm using my phone, and I have to download a helper program, and it didn't connect it to my scheduled link, so I had to schedule an hour ago another link. I hope people will find it, because I had to delete my previous link because I couldn't use it with my phone. So it was a roller coaster. I watched like 30 YouTube video how to do this. So if something really goes wrong, I will set up immediately a continuation with another link on YouTube using my old webcam. Just let you know. Are you going to paint, Kim? I'm always hoping somebody will paint with me, but so far nobody did. Anybody planning to paint? It's important for me to know because then I will ask if somebody finished, so I can go to the next step and things like that. So I need to wait for people. So if somebody wanna paint, let me know. It's helped me to adjust. I see there are people coming up. Please let me know if you paint with me or if you have questions, just type it in the live chat. That's what I usually look when I have time to look, and then I try to answer. I like the Daniel Smith very much. That's my love. And I think what is even better quality, but not as exciting, or I wouldn't say it's better quality, just more even quality, is the Horadam. But I think the Daniel Smith is much more exciting. But Horadam is excellent. Both are excellent. What I like, Daniel Smith has so many type of pigment, and what I refer that it's not as the quality, what you experience as quality is not as even. But it's only because they use so many type of pigment, and pigment behave differently. They are different chemicals, and they behave differently. So some color dry out and you cannot rewet and stuff like that. So you always find weird things with Daniel Smith, but I think it has so many incredibly interesting color what you cannot find in any other brand. So similarly, while in Daniel Smith, some color is really in, some not stain, don't have so much pigment, and so it behave more random. But I love more because just so many interesting color in it. Regarding brushes, it is from the fluffy one, which is hold more water, is the Princeton Neptune. And for springier, so more precise, is the Princeton Aqua Elite. Those are my favorite, but I'm using other brushes which I'm happy with, but these two are my favorite. I have silver black velvet and few other, but the Princeton I love more. I also like painting wise. I like, so if you need, I think Winsor & Newton is okay. I'm not the biggest fan, but I think it's just it's good, absolutely good. And there is another watercolor French one called Sennelier. The tube version of Sennelier are really good, but it's honey based. I think it's different a little bit from the other watercolors on the market, and it's leaking. When you put it in a tray, it's leaking. So when you travel, it's dry out much less. So it's hard to travel with because it stay leakier, or it take much more time to dry out when you put it out from a tube. But it sell huge tubes, and it's cheaper than the Daniel Smith and the others. But I love it. It's a really great paint. But yeah, it's harder if you just use it at home. Then fine, I think. So Sennelier is great too. Winsor & Newton, I think it dry out a little bit too much, and but it's okay. If you like a color, it's totally Daniel Smith. Start soon. I see there are people who will paint, so I will always ask if they're ready to start or they reach the point when we can go forward. So we will need a pencil or a watercolor pencil, which I suggest. The watercolor pencil is better. You can change it more easily. So here is mine. And you need the paper. Mine is Arches Cold Press, 16 by 20 inches. So, oh my God, now I see somehow the delay or on a monitor, it's so bad. This is how you saw it too online. We will see. I hope it gets better then. That's the first time I'm using this setting, and I just don't know what to expect. So the photo, you can get it from the video to print screen, and then you can use it because that's my cover photo if somebody paint. So first thing, you try to make a sketch with just very few lines. You don't need much details, just the placement and the outline a little bit and some details on a face. And this is because I will use masking fluid, so I need to know exactly where to put the masking fluid. So try to look for simplified shapes like circles or angles, for example. So always when you draw an angle, try to decide how much is different from a vertical or a horizontal, because somehow human eyes can really well recognize those. And then you know that your angle is right, and try to look the ratio of your lines to each other. So like, for example, I can see this angle or this line approximately the same length as this, and then it goes up. So this way you can track down the whole drawing. And I immediately see, I think I maybe, well, maybe not, I maybe have enough space, but I put it very much in the back. But I usually do this on purpose because you want a little bit more space, I think, front of the head than than behind the back, just for the psychological effect. But make sure you have enough space. And so it's really bad with the lag. The only thing I can do, I go back to my old webcam if it's useless. I don't know why it's happening. It's used Wi-Fi, so it's used Wi-Fi between my phone and the camera. Sorry, my phone and because my phone is just used as a camera, and it's a Wi-Fi which transfer the information to my computer, and that's what is put in YouTube. And that's what I figured out this morning online. This is how I can do this, but it was terrible to figure it out even, and I'm not sure it will work. I can use my phone directly, but it has other disadvantage. So I cannot watch it, for example. And I can't see the questions, and so it has. I couldn't figure out how to do this right, and somehow through YouTube, I looked probably 30 video how other people doing this, but okay, I will stay with it now. If it's really bad, next time I go back to webcam if it's easier, or I can try to directly stream from my phone, but I'm not sure this will be helpful. So when you do the details, this cat has a very weird face, has a pushed-in nose. So try to look, don't think it's a cat, just think about lines and directions and ratios. So you can see there is a very strong line here, which goes to which is almost in the middle of the head, a little bit more on the front side, just tiny bit more on the front side. You can get the angle really right. And that's where the ear kind of starts. So this will make you like a good helper, this line next to the eye. And then you see there is a parallel line with this angle to which label you the nose. But it's not coming out too much. So it will be a little bit weird for me even too, because I'm not used to draw this kind of face. So I am a little bit worried how it will turn out, but we will see. And the eye, again, just try to look for angles and shapes and ratios. So you can see this goes a little bit angled compared to vertical, that direction. And so it's almost like a triangle. Beside the bottom of the triangle is round. And here's the pupil. On the other side, you don't see it. And the other ear is almost a little bit upper than this ear starts, just tiny bit. So it's not going horizontal, but a little bit up. And that's where it is. And it's approximately good. And so the back is just a little bit angled compared to the horizontal. And then it's go down. And you can see like a triangle here too, like if you want an imaginary triangle. Okay, yeah, I don't know how it will go. As I can see the connection between the phone and a computer is not great through the Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi, sorry. If it's completely useless, let me know. Then I just put up I will restart so I will give another link through my old webcam. If it's horrible, just let me know. Okay. I didn't like the webcam because the color was so off, and because it was a cheap webcam, and the phone has really good camera, but look like somehow the technical things not going great so far. So I think I'm done with the drawing part. Let me know how you are, who paint with me. Christoph. Can we go to the next step? So I will use a little masking fluid length. And that's it. I'm afraid maybe the eyes a little bit, no, I think it's good. I was thinking maybe I need to a little bit move this way, so lower, but. Okay, I'm waiting a little bit, few minutes to people get to the same position. So this drawing is really just, it will almost disappear when I wet the paper. So it's about to just knowing where to put the masking fluid. And I will use masking fluid to eye, the whisker, and the ears. I think that's it. So while I'm waiting a few more minutes, this is my masking fluid. And I will use this reed stick. You can buy it in Blake turned out. Just probably search reed stick or something like that. It's pretty cheap. I know there are many other tools. I tried many, but so far this is the best for me at least. But you can use other thing, or worst scenario. I tried this before. This is a chopstick and I made it pointy with a blade. Actually worked really well to using the masking fluid. For masking fluid application, I suggest to use a paper to test. So I will test probably here. And this is good because it's usually the first line is very dripping. So you want to remove that, and then you want to use it to make thin lines. It's a little bit old school, but I love it. But you need to be careful because it's random what line it will make. So you need to test it a little bit. So you can see this cat holding the weight on this back leg. And I think this is a little bit too much angle for me, so I will change it a little bit. So it's holding the body weight, so it's straight, you can see here. And the other leg is kind of in the air. And you can feel it that this one is holding and this one is straighten out the paw area, so it's not holding the body weight. Okay, so probably 2 minutes gone. Can we go to the next step? Hopefully. So I will use the masking fluid. So mostly it's just good a little bit to turn around the masking fluid because it tends to separate, but don't shake it because it will be bubbly. And here I'm testing, so this is how I'm testing. So I'm always testing after every dip. And when I draw the whisker, I need to be very confident and just make fast, thin lines. And around the eye, I just draw. It can be even thick. Try to make it not very thick, but only because it's just take forever then to dry. But it otherwise it's good if it's thick. It didn't allow the black goes in when we paint. And it can be bigger a little bit than a real eye because we can change that easily, but we cannot go to the other way. So if it's not precise, the bigger is better than the smaller. So I'm drawing the ear. And the other ear. And I honestly think that's it. I don't think I want to draw anything else. And now it's probably around the 10 minutes wait time. So anybody who want to ask question and painting, it's a little time to because I have to wait until the masking fluid is dry. So never start to paint on wet masking fluid because it's a horrible thing to it can really destroy your brush. It will stick into your brush and I don't even know if it's possible to remove from the brush. So always wait until it's dry. So while I'm waiting for the masking fluid to dry, I usually take out the colors and melting them and pre-wet them and things like that. So I will use these 10 minutes to prepare the paint. And as you can see, this, so you don't need to use exactly the same colors as I will use. You can paint black and ochre, or you can use all kind of colors. You can use orange, blue, ochre, black, so many colors. You can make it black and white if you want, so you can just work with one color, but I think it's more interesting with color. Don't really worry about what color you use. So I show what I am using, but it can be, honestly, this can be done with so many colors. So how many years I'm painting? It's many because I painted when I was a child a lot. But there was a time when I painted very little compared to now. I paint a lot since probably 2014, but I painted as a student a lot because I was in a high school specialized for art. And even when I painted little, I still painted some. So probably almost all my life. And I always loved the watercolor. So I'm putting this a little bit on the side to dry. And so when you use tube watercolors, which I absolutely prefer over the pens, you need some kind of dishes. And you can buy, of course, empty holders like this. And you can use trays like this, or you can use just white ceramic plate, which is fine. Just buy a cheap white ceramic plate, probably one of the best thing to use. I usually use round brushes. This is the round, or this flat or something like that. I really like it too. I usually, for this wet and wet technique, I use mostly bigger brushes, but for the face and details, I use a 6, 8, something like that, even 4. But for the basic painting, I use this called quill with the metal on it. That's quill 8, but this is very big because in round, so if you buy round, a same size round is probably called 20 or so. So look at this. This is similar size. This is round, not quill. Don't have this metal. That's 20. That's 8. So be careful with the sizing. So I'm looking for something a little bit smaller than this, about this size. And this is measured by the inch. So I think it's 3/4 inch. Yeah, it's 3/4 inch, this one. And for the details, I will use some plain 4, 6, 8, something like that, round probably. I want a little bit thinner one. This one, for example, this is the silver black velvet 6. That will be perfect for tiny details. Oh, sorry, I want to show the tip. So this is my base color, the black. It's when I'm using black, it's always lamp black. I can't really tell if it's okay to use other black. Probably yes, but many people are testing this and everybody's ending up with the lamp black for this kind of technique. And this is my old painting, which I used probably a week ago or something. So I'm just I added a little water. I usually use spray butter, but you can totally use your brush to add water. And I just re-wet this paint. When you use, be careful because the spray butter can push the paint out a little bit. So don't put your painting next to it. So I'm just trying to a little bit re-wet. When I'm using this style of painting, because my paper is wet, so it will already dilute a little bit the paint. I only dilute up my paint to a heavy cream consistency. So the liquid which is on my brush, it's heavy cream. But if I would use dry paper, I would go more diluted paint. Just saying. So this is a pretty dense paint, but it immediately will dilute and run on my wet paper, so it won't stay as dense. So this is about the right heavy cream consistency. And I'm putting it aside. And so here I have kind of orangey browny colors from old painting. So more darker, all reddish brown. So I'm wetting this same way. And I'm using another brush for this one. Let's say this is a 16 of my Princeton Aqua Elite. So here I don't need to re-wet that much, but it's good if when I'm starting to paint, I can pick up colors from here. So this is a light transparent orange. These are darker. I don't remember what color was it. Some kind of burnt sienna, or I don't know. So it's like it's like orangey brown, theoretically. And here it's more reddish even, or more deep, more dark. similar color though. And I think that's ready. So I have this. If people who are familiar with Daniel Smith, they have really interesting colors, which are sometimes separate to green and some kind of gray. So it looks like gray, but when you paint with it, it's a little bit separate to greenish color and purplish, grayish purple color. I really love it. These are the colors I'm talking about. All behave very similarly. So one is the shadow, no, sorry, hematite violet, bloodstone. I try to put it here. No, it's not working too. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, not really, sorry. So bloodstone genuine. Sorry about my pronunciation. Hematite violet. I think there is one more called shadow violet, but I don't see that one now. So these are the colors I'm talking about, and these are the colors. The lunar red rock is this very dark brown, beautiful color, and the English Venetian red, it's also this darker orangey red. Garnet, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce garnet genuine. Beautiful color again. It's very dark brownish red. So these are the colors that are here. But you can totally work with any kind of brown. If you have a good watercolor set, you will have beautiful browns and orange and black. So you don't need to worry about the exact same color. So let's look how is the masking fluid. So my masking fluid, you can test it with your hand. It's completely dry. Let me know if we can start to paint, whoever paint. I'm curious. So whoever painting with me, let me know if you're ready to wet your paper and paint. So what I will use, thank you, what I will use is a spray bottle. If you don't have, don't worry. Just use your big brush to wet your paper. So my big brush is this absolutely no name. It's called Mottler brush. This is what I suggest to you if you want to buy. It can be $10, but if you buy quality from this, it will be very pricey because it has a lot of hair. But I don't think you need super high quality for this. And actually, I think this is a good quality too. It's some kind of Asian. I'm using since probably 15 years. It's all rusty, but it's still excellent. But it's still sell. I bought it. It's Dakota Art Store, and it was $7.30. So if you're looking for this, I bought pricey one, but it didn't worth it. So with the spray bottle, I spray the paper. Make sure always you have some kind of wipe around you when you paint, so like paper towel or something. There are better things than paper towel, but I think it's too pricey and complicated to buy, so not worth it. And just with an easy movement, don't push too hard and don't do this too long because you will loosen up the sizing too much. So just few times do this with a light movement. Make sure there are no puddles. The wetness is even. And that's it. I think mine is ready. And it needs a minute, but not more than a minute to just the wetness settle into the, there is a hair I'm trying to remove. Okay, still there. So just a minute until the wetness goes a little bit into your paper. But you cannot wait too much because this whole painting style is really timed, and you will time out. When your paper start to dry, you timed out. So let's start with some, I would say, oh, as you can see, I have huge water balls, and that's what I suggest, and I suggest to have several. So let's start with some little bit some reddish undercolor. So you see, I'm not using this paint that dance, just a little bit lighter. It's because the cat has, so cat is not dark. I mean, it's darker than, it's pretty similar, the pattern, to a Siamese, but it's darker than a Siamese, but it's still a lighter color, especially in this area. Okay. And so when I'm done with this base color, I start to add little black. There. And wherever you see the darker areas, just let things melting to each other. It wasn't even my black, sorry, it was my gray, and now I'm touching my black. So the black is pretty strong, so be careful with it. So I'm rinsing out my brush to make it lighter color and try to melt the black into the other colors. Yeah, be careful with the black, it's a little bit strong. The face, I usually just put very basic things, and make sure you're not putting dark colors to the edges because it will run outside. So that's, I will touch a little bit later when, especially the black. So the lighter color is okay, but the black, I don't put it on the edges because it can easily run. And when it's run, just, it's not a big deal. Just make sure you remove it early, so it's not stain the paper permanently. You can, if you need darker color, you can pick it up from here if you want to be careful. Just lighter. And now on, I think I will mostly go with just warm color, probably like orange or whatever I have on my tray, honestly. Also around the paw, make sure if it's leaking too much, don't work there. So just wait until it's more, because these are very very straight edges, not very fluffy. Although this cat is overall not very fluffy, it's very short hair and very compact. You don't see really the edges, but you can see it's furring out pretty much here. So just be careful. if you bothered by, you can just take a white, or not white, but clean paper, put it around your finger, and you can just beautifully remove or make straight lines. But these areas, I suggest to keep this beautiful run of the watercolor. So I wouldn't touch this. This make this painting just very nice. It gives you the first texture, the fluffiness of the cat. So I wouldn't remove this here. But where you want really straight edge, like the face or the paws, you can make the drawing with this method. So you can make it very, almost you can use it as a straight line drawing tool. So my both of my bowl is pretty dirty, so I will bring clean water. And if yours that look like this, I suggest that to you too. Don't use dirty water. So you can see I changed both of my bowl. Here also I can see little runs. I'm just making sure it's not happening, not going too much forward. So I want to turn down this a little bit. This is a little bit experimental what I'm doing. So I will do it with a little blue, because as you know, probably the blue is the, how it's called, the opposite color of the orange. So if you add, it's immediately turning down the brightness. So why I like to use my phone is because the colors are much better than on my, even with the problems. So I want the air in this area a little bit just lighter. So same color, just lighter. This is what happens when your paper is dirty, so be careful with that. This ear goes dark here. So when your paint is settled but not dry, you can add water and you get beautiful backgrounds, which I'm trying to add now, especially to the lighter areas. I need to elongate the tail a little bit, and for that I probably use black. Oh, I don't know where this come from. Honestly, it just somehow splashed from my brush backwards. So when you do the backgrounds, they can push the paint out, like happened here. It's not a big deal again. Just be aware if it can go a little bit too far. So I think it's time to go on a face. So that's the point when I really switch to a thinner brush. Something like this. And either your darker grayish or black, but be careful with the black. I have something on my brush. Okay. So just try to get the face. So I'm adding now real black. And here, a little bit like orangey brown, go up. It's a little bit too dark. I don't know how much you see these runs back. It's called backruns or cauliflower or blooming. Watercolor. It's a typical watercolor thing. I always talk about this. I really love it, this effect. I try to use it very with decision. So it's usually make people crazy because it happens and you don't want it. But if you can generate it on purpose where you want it, I think it's beautiful and really add a lot to watercolor. And I don't think any other paint can do this. Hi, Maria. Thank you. Thank you for being here from Sydney. As early as 6:30. So now I'm trying to adding a little structure on the feet. This is the other one. So this dark here, the chin, or I don't know how to call it, let's give you the kind of the edge of the head. So it's kind of important where you put it, but it's not as exact as usually. So it's a little bit hard to deal with. I'm trying to put this light here. Maybe a little bit even here. And here. It's only possible with clean paper, so always turn around your paper after 1 or maximum 2 wipe. So I think I'm kind of reaching the point when I need to wait for drying to remove the masking fluid. And after just very little work on a face, and probably, yeah, that's probably when I can finish up. So I tried this several times. So on the internet, many people say don't use the hairdryer on masking fluid, but I tried a few times just because of the live tutorial, and it never caused problem. So I don't know because it's a given brand or I was lucky or what, but so I used a hairdryer and it was fine. I don't know what to say to you. Try it, but probably try it if you're not worried too much about your painting. I really didn't have problem with it. So I will try without hairdryer first, but if it's not working, I probably hairdryer it for a few minutes. So first I just touch very carefully. Yeah, it stains my hand. So when it stains your hand, you definitely can't rub off the masking fluid, so it won't work. So I think the hairdryer is necessary if I want to finish during this session. So I'm bringing the hairdryer. So if you bother by the noise, take a little bit down the voice. I'm for a few minutes, okay? If you have question, it's a good time to type it in so I can read it, and after the hairdryer is done, I can answer it. I need a minute. I have a question to you guys. So I don't know if you saw it or not. I uploaded my nude painting experiment probably yesterday, and I put a restriction on it. And some people complain because they cannot watch it without adding credit card or some kind of just proof of age. But when I looked the internet, I found it ridiculous because nobody put restriction of nude painting and stuff like that. So anybody who is 18 and can watch that video, if you want to give me a feedback that do you think I need age restriction on that or not, please let me know what you think, because I would be happy to take it off, but I don't want to cause issue with YouTube also. But I couldn't find anything with age restriction, similar stuff. So maybe I am just too cautious, and it's stupid to put age restriction on nude watercolor painting. It's not pornographic or anything. But when you read the description where you're supposed to put age restriction, you're supposed to put age restriction on that. So I just don't know what to do. And I feel sorry for people who cannot watch it. But I don't know what to do now. So I leave the age restriction for now, and we will see. I'm curious on your opinion. So since it's a little bit not the best way to do this, but when it's not staining your hand, it's usually okay. But I will be very careful. So as soon as if I see like mess, like ugly stain starts coming, I stop. So be very careful if you do this. But I think it will be fine because it's not staining my hands. So, and everything else is wet, so be careful. I just did this around the face where I want to remove the masking. It's coming out really nice, so I don't have problem so far, at least. It's really coming out great. And then make sure you remove the bits. Check your finger also if it's dirty, but it's keep very clean, so it's fine. I think it will be fine. I never tried the distilled water. Honestly, when I paint outside, I mostly use like water from the stream or puddles or whatever when I run out water. But I can imagine it's not the best. Yeah, but I just use tap water. Do you see any difference when you use the distilled water? It's more beautiful or something like. Do you see an effect? I'm just curious. I never even heard to using distilled water. So I'm just adding water to generate little backgrounds, like here you can see a little bit. So I'm quite happy how the masking removed. So now I'm going to the tiny details on the face. So I will use a quite thin brush and very dense paint on it to not run. So because I don't want the paint run there. So, and also you can see the line around the edge of the ear. It's pretty straight. I mean, it's not a gradient, it's a real line. I mean straight line. It's a line now. That's what I mean, not like a straight line. Okay, so I'm talking stupid. So I will use this thinner brush to draw that line. It's not, it can have a little smooth edge on the cat side, so it's okay. Thank you for the feedback, Sarah, on the nude. I probably will remove it, and maybe I will just take the anger of the YouTube. I don't know. We'll see. So Christoph asked for time, so maybe I'm waiting a little bit before I go too much forward. I'm making little, here I want a little correction. Okay, so we can continue. I can see a little leftover, so since I didn't paint here, I can remove a little leftover of masking fluid. I just took it off. I'm using, you can see I'm using a little dry brush technique here. It means your brush is pretty dry, so you have to like scrub it on the paper. It's not fun for the brush, I believe, but it's just making very nice effect. I love it. So you can see the other eye. This is a really elongated triangle, so it has a very little edge here and like pretty tall this way. Like this way. Sorry, it was hard to see. So very short this way and tall this way. So before I add yellow to the eye, the black need to be quite dry, because otherwise the yellow will suck the black in, and it will just stain the yellow to ugly color. So you don't want that. So I wait a little bit to add the yellow, but I'm almost done. I want a little line around this ear too. And I have the artist pit pen from Faber-Castell, I think. If I found, I show in a second. It's a probably ink-based marker pen or something like that. Faber-Castell pit artist pen. It has this metal tip. You can find it with many kind of tip, but this is what I'm looking for. This make a really beautiful thin line. So it's perfect for signature. thin lines, whiskers, things like that. So if you want to buy something like this is excellent, I think. And you can buy thinner than this. You can buy it in, even with this metal type tape, you can buy probably 3 different thickness. I'm looking if I found one size thinner. I have several, it's just the chaos here. So this is the other thick type, but I don't want to use this now. This is very thick compared to the metal tip ones. So I found the third one. Yeah, that's a thinner tip. So I tried this one for now. So when I use this for a whisker, you need to be similarly just very fast and try to make very thin. If you need to turn around the paper, that's fine because it's half the angle. Just be fast and try to make it like not shaky and, you know, just thin. And here on a face, I usually just continue the black when it's outside of the face. So I leave the white for the black area here, and I just continue outside of that. And maybe I can use it a little bit. This one is not get melting up so easily as the paint, so it's good for pupil also and stuff like that. So the water won't I don't know what is the word. The water will not redilute or whatever. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know the word. So for the eye, I will just use a tiny bit of yellow, maybe with a little green. Let's see. I'm trying here on a paper, just a tiny bit of green into it. Yeah, good. So let's hope it stays there and the black is not coming off. Yeah, look like it's good, stays. We are really on a finish line, honestly. So I just want to add a little black here around the whiskers. And this is just need to dry. I really like the backgrounds, these things. I want try a little dry brush, but very light around here. Or maybe a little grayish. Just trying to lighten up a little bit here, but it's too late probably because it's dry now. I can see a little pattern here. You can add it if you want, like little stripes, but not as strong like this. Just I will matting them. Maybe a little brown. Try with the brown. Okay, I think I'm done. I don't want to overdo it. It's need a little drying, but other than that, I think I finished. So maybe I will stay a few more minutes if you want to ask something. I add a little black above the eye, just here a tiny bit. So if you have question or something, a few more minutes. I will be here and then I'm gone. Whoever painted with me, how it turned out, Christoph and maybe others, although I think it's only you. Did it work out well? Okay, anybody else? Some question? Anything? So if not, thank you for being here. If you want to help me, it's a great help for me if you watch my YouTube videos all the way, because I would like to monetize my channel, but I need a lot of watch hour, 4,000 watch hour for that. Otherwise, you can buy original on Etsy or Saatchi Art. And I am on Skillshare where I have few, I don't know how many, but probably 16 or so tutorial, mostly cat, but other things too, landscape, flowers, things like that. And so these are the way you can help me. And thank you so much for being here. And have a nice weekend.